National Anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा। तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे। गाहे तब जय गाथा। जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
भारत माता की जय। Good morning, everyone. We are really very honored, Honorable Chair, sir, that you are here with us on our short request. And we have Sri Avnish Awasthi ji, Honorable Advisor to Chief Minister, Sri Mukesh Meshram ji, Principal Secretary, Tourism, Culture and Dharmarth Vibhag, Sri Vishwabhushan Mishra ji, Chief Executive Officer and Joint Director, Dharmarth Vibhag, Sri Naveen Kumar ji, Revenue Secretary, Sri Sunil Rai ji, and distinguished guests from various universities and colleges. I will request Sri Vishwabhushan Mishra ji to deliver his welcome note address. And before that, I would like your attention, Honorable Chair, that you are on a pilgrimage tour. So this topic is very apt to you. That's why we decided to hold this round table. Thank you so much.
आदरणीय महामहिम राज्यपाल महोदय, मैडम, अवनीश अवस्थी सर, मुकेश मेश्राम सर, यहाँ उपस्थित सभी अन्य आदरणीय अतिथियों, आप सभी का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है इस कॉन्फ्रेंस में, जो कि आज का जो विषय दिया गया है कि धार्मिक विकास एवं अर्थव्यवस्था, मंदिर अर्थव्यवस्था का विषय है। तो यह बहुत ही रिलेवेंट है इस समय उत्तर प्रदेश के लिए, विशेष रूप से हमारे प्रमुख सचिव पर्यटन सर का जो प्रयास वर्तमान समय में चल रहा है, और इससे पहले सर ने जो मार्गदर्शन दिखाया था सर उसमें, और माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में जो पूरी यात्रा चल रही है उत्तर प्रदेश की, इस समय हमारा जो पूरा पर्यटन है वो धर्म आधारित है। और चूँकि हमारे पास उत्तर प्रदेश में बीचेज नहीं हैं, तो नेचुरल ब्यूटी के रूप में कुछ जो हमारे अभयारण्य हैं, उनके अतिरिक्त बाकी नदियों का एक पावन प्रदेश है ये। उसके अतिरिक्त सबसे जो बड़ा हमारा आकर्षण का केंद्र होता है वो धार्मिक पर्यटन ही है। और धार्मिक पर्यटन में इस समय किस प्रकार प्रगति हुई है, इसका सबसे पाइवोटल एग्जाम्पल जो है पूरे देश में, मुझे लगता है कि प्राचीन धर्मस्थल का जो सबसे पहला एक बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट बनाकर पुनर्विकसित किया गया, वो श्री काशी विश्वनाथ मंदिर का प्रोजेक्ट था, जो श्री काशी विश्वनाथ कॉरिडोर बनाया गया। तो मैं स्पेसिफिक उस पर आकर बहुत थोड़ा सा एक संक्षिप्त में आपके सामने एक डेटा रख रहा हूँ कि किस प्रकार से विकास ये हुआ है। सर, अगर आय की बात करें तो 2020-21 के जो फाइनेंशियल ईयर था उसमें मंदिर की कुल आय 11,10,17,908 रुपये थी। वर्ष 2021-22 की बात करें तो ये सीधे हमारा 13 दिसंबर 2021 को कॉरिडोर का उद्घाटन हुआ था। तो विद इन दैट लिमिटेड पीरियड जो हमारा जंप किया है वो 20,08,68,015 रुपये की आय हुई थी। 2022-23 में कॉरिडोर बनने के अगले वर्ष में सर मोर देन डबल हुआ, 100 कुछ % की उसमें ग्रोथ हुई थी। उसमें 59,35,91,806 रुपये की कुल आय हुई। और 2023-24 में ये आय फिर से हमारी डबल तो नहीं लेकिन ऑलमोस्ट 1.5 टाइम्स करके ये 85,93,85,518 रुपीज़ की हुई है। ये कुल अगर बात किया जाए हमारा आय के संबंध में, जो हमारे यहाँ दर्शनार्थी और श्रद्धालु आते हैं, इनका एवरेज जो हमारा था वो 1,00,000 डेढ़ लाख श्रद्धालु प्रतिदिन से बढ़कर इस समय जो हमारा नॉर्मल जो मंथ चलता है उसमें लगभग 4 से 5 लाख श्रद्धालु प्रतिदिन आते हैं सिर्फ काशी विश्वनाथ मंदिर में। और अगर उसमें पूरा जो हमारा पीक वो नॉर्मल की बजाय जैसे इस समय बहुत ज़्यादा समर वाला टाइम चल रहा है, तो इस समय भी हमारे पास 2 लाख का एवरेज सर 2-2.5 लाख का पर डे का मेंटेन चल रहा है। और अगर विदेशी यात्रियों की बात करें, विदेशी पर्यटन को आकर्षित करने के संबंध में, तो कॉरिडोर के उद्घाटन से पहले जब निर्माण चल रहा था 2019 में 100 देशों के कुल 3,702 लोगों ने श्री काशी विश्वनाथ मंदिर में आकर दर्शन किया था। 2020 का वर्ष कोविड का वर्ष था, उस वर्ष का आंकड़ा हमारे पास जनरेट नहीं हुआ है। 2021 में 13 दिसंबर के बाद का आंकड़ा है, इसमें 15 देशों के 41 लोगों ने यात्रा की थी। 2031 में 13 दिसंबर से 31 दिसंबर के बीच में 2022 की अगर बात करें सर तो ये 103 देश के लोग आए 4542 की संख्या में। 2023 की बात करें सर तो 117 देशों के 12489 लोगों ने हमारे मंदिर का में आकर दर्शन पूजन किया था, जो ये सारे विदेशी यात्रियों का आंकड़ा है। 2024 की अगर बात करें सर तो अभी तक जो हमारा अप्रैल माह चल रहा है, ये डेटा हमारा 31 मार्च तक का है सर। पहले 3 माह में 97 देशों के 5318 लोग अब तक आ चुके हैं। तो हम ये आशा करते हैं कि इस बार हमारी संख्या जाएगी वो लगभग 145 देशों के आसपास जो हम एस्टिमेट कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि जिन देशों के रेगुलर यात्री आते रहे हैं इस बार उनकी बजाय नए देशों के लोग भी आए हैं। तो निश्चित रूप से जो धार्मिक क्षेत्रों का विकास है वो पर्यटन को आकर्षित करता है और मंदिर की अर्थव्यवस्था के साथ साथ जो पूरी अर्थव्यवस्था में वृद्धि होती है, मैंने उसके भी आंकड़े लिए हैं। एक्साइज डिपार्टमेंट का जो रेवेन्यू कलेक्शन है सर, ये हमारा जम कर गया है ऑलमोस्ट 40% फ्रॉम 2021 से लेकर 2024 के बीच में। जीएसटी का जो हमारा है सर, स्टेट जीएसटी का डाटा हमारे पास है, इट हैज़ ग्रोन मोर देन 30%। ये इसके बाद है कि जीएसटी में तमाम एग्जम्पशंस भी आए हैं, कोविड के बाद लोगों को छूट भी दी गई थी। अगर वो सारा डेटा कलेक्ट किया गया होता, सारा रेवेन्यू लिया गया होता, तो मुझे लगता है ये रेवेन्यू कलेक्शन और ज़्यादा बढ़ा होता। तो पुनः एक बार सभी का स्वागत है इस डिस्कशन में। मुझे लगता है कि जो आशीर्वचन हमें मिलेगा अपने वरिष्ठ लोगों का वो ज़्यादा मार्गदर्शक होगा, और आप सभी का पुनः स्वागत करते हुए मैं अपनी वाणी को ही विराम देता हूँ। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir. We are a little bit hurry, so I forgot to formally welcome Honorable Governor. So I'll request Sri Avnish Awasthi ji and Sri Mukesh Meshram ji to welcome Honorable Governor. So, Awasthi sir will welcome the Governor and Meshram sir will to the Madam Governor. I'll request Meshram sir to welcome Madam Governor.
This has what is from Uttar Pradesh, and I'd like to take it up for you. Very few people realize that this is also Buddha ki dharti, sir.
Sir, all other countries are claiming that Buddha is born in our country.
Thank you. Meshram sir will welcome Madam Governor.
Lumini is in change.
Yeah. Ma'am. I'll request Sri Vishwabhushan ji to give a presentation from India Think Council to Honorable Governor. It's again the statue and idol of Lord Ganesha. Thank you. Moving further, I'll request Sri Avnish Awasthi ji. He's been instrumental in the Chief Minister's target of $1 trillion economy. And sir, you are going from Ayodhya to Kashi, and there's a city, Prayagraj, in between your travel and tour. So this triangle enough generates lots of economy and GDP to Uttar Pradesh and to the nation. I'll request Avnish Awasthi sir to shed some lights. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Governor of Mizoram, Hari Babu sir, Madam, who has very kindly accepted to do darshan with sir, and it's the Hindu tradition that if you go to any dharmic sthal, you have to go with your wife, sir, and I'm so very happy that you are doing darshan to Naimesh, to Ayodhya, to Kashi with wife, and that is the way one should go around for the darshan, sir. So, Madam, we are very thankful for you to be part of this. Mukesh Meshram sahab, Vishwabhushan Mishra ji, VC sahab, Saurabh, all the eminent members here for today's discussion. I would like to welcome Honorable Sir. He belongs to what is called as Andhra Pradesh now, and I have been to Visakhapatnam for a big program on disability, where I had the opportunity to be with Sir when Thawarchand Gehlot Sahab was the Minister for Government of India. And we did a huge disability camp at Visakhapatnam, and it was under his guidance that we could do that program. And so I would love to welcome Sir once again in our state on behalf of our Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath ji. I would like to welcome Sir to Lucknow and to the state. I have been asked to speak about temple economics and dharmic development, sir. When in 2017 Yogi ji came in as the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, I had the good fortune of being the Tourism and Dharmat Secretary, the Religious Affairs Secretary. And the very first time when we started discussing with him the entire scenario for the state, and you all know, and everyone, the entire world knows, that he is part of a trust, he is part of a PEAT, he is the head of a PEAT, and he is also the head of the entire PEAT for the entire country. So he, having seen all of it and having got trained under his guru, the very first thing he told us when we took up as Secretary Tourism and Secretary Dharmat, that you are not even achieving 0.1% of the potential of our religious places in Uttar Pradesh. We have Ram Vedas, we have Kashi Baba Bholenath Vedas, we have Mathura and Vrindavan, we have Krishna Vedas, we have Lord Buddha at Sarnath and Kushinagar, he is with us. All these, any number of persons have come from Uttar Pradesh, the saints, Tulsi ji, he wrote the Ramayana here, Chitrakoot and all those areas are there. So the entire state is dotted with history, with scriptures, and of all the places, Naimisharanya, which is the fountainhead of knowledge for the entire country, because it is said that the Upanishads and the Purans were written here. So it is there with us. So he, very first time when he started discussing things with us, he said that, well, we have not even achieved 0.1 of the potential for tourism and religious tourism and for Shraddhalus in the state. And it is then that this journey of the entire state started, sir. I would not take much time, but I would like to just give you 5 or 6 examples of how he thought, what was his vision. And we had the good fortune of the Prime Minister representing the state from Kashi, and I've been a collector of Varanasi also, I've been collector in Faizabad also. So it was this entire, I would say it was the God's gift to us that the Prime Minister representing Kashi, Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh as Yogi ji, that the entire state saw a complete renaissance in the history of the nation. And it is in this background I will give what Mr. Mishra has just said. Sir, when the first time we went to Kashi, I have been a collector there in 99. It was a very small temple and they were all गली गली सब जो है वहाँ पर जाने का रास्ता भी नहीं था, बड़ी मुश्किल से, it was so very difficult that families could go together, women were made to go on a separate line, men were supposed to go on a separate line, and it was total chaos at the temple. And on Shivratri, where we were all present, we had to be on horseback to see that, well, the crowds were properly managed and there was no problem. It is then that in 2017, sir was of the view that we should do something about Kashi, and the Prime Minister then took the lead. He said that my mother had a vision that we should have Kashi Dham such that the Gangaji and Baba are all together, and he gave us the broad vision of how to take it forward. He then initiated the process of taking forward this entire project. We then started this work. Yogi ji made at least 20 visits to Kashi to make people understand, the public understand. There were any number of religious leaders who were made to understand, and it was then with the cooperative effort of everyone there that the entire process started. The very first thing that was required to be done was to acquire the houses, built houses. They were centuries old houses which had to be acquired. And I recall the very first time when we started talking to people, they did not imagine that something could happen. And the very first time we started acquiring the houses, it took us a lot of effort to get the first 10, 15 houses acquired. We have a state policy where 2 times the value of the land and the value of the building is paid directly to the person owners of the house. There were any number of issues because there were tenants there, there were illegal tenants there, all sorts of things were there. But all of it happened. The Honorable Prime Minister's vision, his directions, his efforts, his view of how the project should look like. We got a very good architect, we got somebody to do the work for us, And I can say that Kashi, he gave you an input that Kashi Dham, the trust has got 85 crores in 1 year. I would look at it in a very broad fashion. We spent about 300 plus crores for acquiring the land. And we must have spent about 500 crores, 450 to 500 crores on the project itself. So the total expenditure at Kashi for the Kashi Dham project was about 800, is about 800 crores. And as Mishra ji has said, on 13th December of 2021, the inauguration was done. The earlier, when the Shilanyas was done, we were there. When the inauguration was done, all the saints of the entire country were invited. A beautiful program was held. And from 13th December 2021 till 13th December 2023, in 2 years, the total people who had visited Kashi was how much? 13 crores. So what I say is that, sir, that if, and this is the temple economics I'm talking about, if 13 crore people could visit Kashi in 2 years, each person would have spent at least 2,000 rupees for coming, staying, going around and all of that. So 13 crores into 2,000, if you multiply, that becomes 26,000 crores. So that is the value which has come to Kashi and Varanasi. And sir, if you are a common man, I can say this, and this is a matter of record, it is difficult to get a hotel room in Kashi unless you are booked in advance. And at the last moment, on one of the occasions which is called Dev Deepavali, where everything is absolutely booked, it is on that day, the entire Gangaji along the river on both the sides now, diyas are lighted, and Dev Deepavali is one occasion where I would say, and I would request ma'am also, that you should see Kashi at Dev Deepavali. There is nothing like Dev Deepavali ever that you will see in your entire life, and this I can say for sure. Honorable Prime Minister has been there for Dev Deepavali. The Chief Minister, almost every other Dev Deepavali has been there. It's a beautiful site. So this is what I would say is the temple economics for Kashi. I would now start with Ayodhya. I can go on and on, but I'll just take 3 examples now. In Ayodhya, in 2017, about 15 to 20 days before the Diwali, we were coming back from Gorakhpur in the flight, and the earlier Governor Ram Naik Saab was there, and both Chief Minister and Ram Naik ji was there. I was also there. And Honorable Chief Minister asked that what happens at Diwali at Ayodhya. And since I had been posted there earlier, I said nothing, it's all dark. And people at Ayodhya always are of the view that let not anything happen so that there is no confusion, and let things be as they are. And it is then that Yogi ji said that Ram ki Ayodhya mein Diwali na ho और पूरे देश में दिवाली राम की वजह से हम मनाते हैं, तो ऐसा नहीं होगा. And it was then that the very first time he said that maybe on Diwali we will not have a function, but the tourism department and the culture department would hold a function one day before Diwali, or Choti Diwali. And it is then that we started a 2-3 day program at Diwali. It is called Deepotsav. The very first time we had the diyas, we had to buy the diyas. There were not enough Kumhars who could give us the diyas. And the very first time we made a record of diyas. Mukesh has now been achieving world records in lighting of lamps here at Ayodhya, and in 2023 Honorable Prime Minister was there, and the entire country could see the Prime Minister at Ayodhya. Of course, now that the temple has come, again I would say that he is saying the number for Kashi is about 2 to 5 lakhs. Ayodhya itself has a number of 2 to 5 lakhs. And I can say, sir, that we are going to beat Tirupati now, and it is in your area, because these are the 3 places now which are the center of attention for the entire country. And we have probably already beaten Mecca and Vatican, because these are the 2 religious cities of the world. So Ayodhya, Kashi, Tirupati, all of these are now becoming most important. So once Ayodhya started, sir, today Ayodhya did not have the wherewithal to see such large number of people. Kashi already was a very big city. Prayag with Kumbh has already been very big. But Ayodhya now is seeing a fantastic development, and there's only one thing I'd like to point out, sir, that at Ayodhya, I couldn't have imagined as an administrative officer that we would have an international airport at Ayodhya. And for the first time, the Honorable Prime Minister, when he started the flight at Ayodhya, this is something which will go down in history as one of the biggest achievements of Ayodhya, that an international airport at Ayodhya has started. And it is here that now more than 8 to 10 flights all over the country are doing every day, and international flights will also start. I was discussing with the head of Tata's, Chandrasekaran Saab, who's the head of the Tata organization. They are planning to take Air India from some of these East Asian countries, some of the other countries of the world, direct flight of Air India to Ayodhya, and then at Ayodhya have Taj hotels there, and then make darshan possible for the entire world. So this is the second aspect of what I would like to tell you, sir. And the third aspect is Kumbh. Kumbh was the first opportunity where the government of Uttar Pradesh did a job which was never possible. More than 25 crore people came, sir. And since we were part of that entire arrangement just before Kumbh, we thought how could that be possible, but because of the directions of the Honorable Chief Minister, the Prime Minister himself made 2 visits to Kumbh. It was then that we had Swachh Div and Sundar Kumbh, and this is the largest congregation of people in the world. Nobody comes on invitation, everyone comes due to the religious beliefs. So Kumbh is what happened at 25 crores. And I would once again, I will continue to request you, sir, that the next Kumbh is in 2025, January. Ma'am, and you and your entire family and all children should be there at Kumbh to see. There are 3 things which happened at Kumbh. One, the Swachhata at Kumbh. For the first time, modern technology was used for toilets, for all the cleaning, and biodegradable toilets were used. That was one. Second, perfect arrangement for law and order. Not a single lathi of any police wala was raised. You have been in politics, sir, and you would know that in such a large congregation, kahin na kahin to kami ho jati hai. But the UP police was so well trained, not a single incident happened which was untoward. And 3, world over, the foreign tourists came to Kumbh. They have always been attracted to Kumbh. And I was part of that entire exercise. I could meet an Australian traveller, a 55-year-old person. He said he has been for the last 5 Kumbhs, and every Kumbh he comes from Australia, but this was the best Kumbh possible. So again, if you take 25 crore people and take the value of money which would come to us, that is a fantastic job which we have done. So we are all a part of the team of Yogi Ji, part of team of the Honorable Prime Minister to take the country to $5 trillion. We want our state to become a $1 trillion economy. It can only and only be possible if tourism, culture, our dharmic areas, all these develop, because this is what has led to other countries to go forward, sir. Small countries like Turkey, small countries like Cyprus, small countries in Europe, Italy have done well. I'm told in Venice now they are not allowing tourists to go inside because of the space constraint. So we in Uttar Pradesh have a lot of potential. If we do good work, and the next, Saurabh has just very recently coordinated, and Mukesh and Mishra ji have very recently done a conference on Nemish. Now that is another, if you have been to Nemish, it's a very small place, just one kund there, few temples there. If that develops as a grand area, a lot of people from South India would come, and South Indians all consider it to be their God. It is their requirement that they have to go to Nemish. So this is another potential that we can develop. Very soon, as it has been said, Vrindavan and Mathura will also see a lot of changes. Very soon we will see at Mirzapur, which is Vindhyachal, Vindhyavasini Devi, that place will also develop. All across the state, projects are developing. Mukesh has started the program under the Chief Minister where every MLA is getting money now for this. Now this is something which is going to be taken up. So just like one district, one product, we'll have one district, one tourism spot. And this is how we intend to take one territory. Yes, sir. So thank you, sir. And thank you, Saurabh. Thank you for all and everyone here. And once again, sir, we would like to thank you and showcase to you how UP and India can move forward based on our temple economies and the Dharmic development of this.
Thank you so much, sir. And next we have Sri Mukesh Mishramji. Under his leadership only, we are running, he is holding 3 portfolios, Department of Tourism, Culture and Dharmarth. And under his leadership only, we are getting all this. And this hall is, of course, due to his guidance. So I'll request Mukesh sir to please carry forward.
Honorable Governor, sir. Honorable Ma'am Governor, Avnish Awasthi, sir. Advisor to Honorable Chief Minister, Mishra ji, Saurabh ji, हमारे colleague Naveen ji, Shobhit Nahar ji, and other participants in this conference. So it's basically on temple economics and dharmic development. As you know already, and as Mr. Awasthi sir spoke just now in details about the potential of spiritual religious tourism in Uttar Pradesh, particularly those destinations which are becoming very popular and have been already the holy places for many religious people. So this is next. So all the temples, they are like hub of economic activities, and these are the centers of job creations also for various economic activities also, because in each and every campus you will find flower, garlands, different kind of offerings, puja, prasad, and various other activities. So as far as India is concerned, in 2022, 106% year-on-year growth in religious tourism income was observed, and it has become very good temple economic model, and religious tourism is also growing very fast in India. So the temples are no longer just places for prayers. Now all these temples or religious destinations or our tourist destinations, they have become hubs for various activities. As sir also mentioned about Kashi, not only just in the premise of the Kashi Vishwanath temple, but on the ghats, lots of people are benefiting out of various activities. Then the weavers, particularly silk sari has become very popular, and the jump, 5 times jump in their business has been seen in the last just 2-3 years. So one can experience how everyone or different stakeholders of that particular place or city benefit out of these activities. Next. So this is tourism economics, like 1,34,543 crore. This is like an estimated amount which came out from religious tourism, and we earned. So as compared to 21, 106% growth was there. Then there are household donations also pouring in these temples through like digital platforms, through online transactions. It has also become very popular mode of donation, and each center is getting that kind of money also. Next. So we have 12 circuits out, tourism circuits, which we have identified in the state, but these 5 are mainly very popular religious spiritual circuits. Ramayana circuit is there from Ayodhya to Srangverpur to Chitrakoot, because Chitrakoot nowadays is very famous and we are developing. The state government is developing Chitrakoot in a big way. We have Shakti Peeth, there are Devi Patan, Vindhyachal. Recently, on the lines of Kashi Vishwanath corridor, we have developed Vindhyachal corridor. And recently this new Navratra experienced lots of crowd and everybody appreciated the development in that particular temple complex and around what infrastructure we have developed. Krishna Braj Circuit, already sir has mentioned, it has got very big boost after the infrastructural developments in that area. We have already formed Braj Tirth Vikas Parishad. And on the similar lines, we have formed Tirth Vikas Parishad in different destinations also. Ayodhya has now Shri Ayodhya Dham Tirth Vikas Parishad. We have Devi Patan Tirth Vikas Parishad, Shakumbari Tirth Vikas Parishad, Naimisharan Tirth Vikas Parishad, Chitrakoot Tirth Vikas Parishad, Vindhyavasini Tirth Vikas Parishad. So all these Tirth Vikas Parishad has the mandate to just not develop the infrastructural facilities in that particular district, but also organize different kind of activities, festivals, and puja and different things. We have Jain circuit. Out of 24 Jain Tirthankars, 18 are from Uttar Pradesh only. So yeah, and from Ayodhya and Varanasi, there are many. So that way, we have the potential of attracting Jain pilgrims, then Buddhist circuit, Adhyatmic circuit, this spiritual circuit like Buddhist circuit, we have 6 major tourist destinations available in Uttar Pradesh, starting from Sarnath, Kushinagar, Kapilvastu, Shravasti, Sankissa and Kaushambi. So government has already allocated sufficient budget for developing these places also, and we have started developing various infrastructural facilities for the tourist, inbound as well as outbound tourist. Next. So this is a slide how this spending of tourists sector wise is, one can see that on social and religious activity, maximum amount is spent out of total expenditure, and that is the share which one can see in this slide, 48%. So that is the amount. Next. These are the places which we have just shown in this slide. Tourist footfall in 2023. It surpassed 40 crore mark because already we have huge potential. There are so many religious, spiritual destinations available in Uttar Pradesh, and that's how we attracted maximum number of domestic tourists, pilgrims in Uttar Pradesh. So we are the highest in the country and we are the number 1 in terms of domestic tourist arrival. And Ayodhya, like after Kashi Vishwanath development, now Ayodhya is getting a surge of tourists. Every day we are finding 2 to 2.5 lakhs pilgrims coming over there for darshan, puja and various other activities. And just you can see in the January, it got like Pran Pratishtha done and 2.21 crore pilgrims already visited Ayodhya. Next. So what is driving temple economics in Uttar Pradesh? Obviously, after 2017, in each district we have identified certain places and we also identified the gaps for the tourist. What all amenities and facilities are required for the betterment of that place as well as for having good experience, because everyone who visits, the person, our pilgrim, our like tourist becomes brand ambassador himself, because then he tells others that these are the facilities available and one can very easily visit that place. So keeping in mind that particular aspect, we have started providing basic amenities, basic facilities, toilets, dormitories, signages, approach roads, benches, drinking water facilities, lights, and at certain places we have also constructed various buildings for all these. Then last mile connectivity. This is also in our like budget provision, Dharmarth, Religious Affairs Department, Dharmarthkar. We have made 1,000 crore budgetary provision to connect for last mile connectivity to all these pilgrim places, so that the road connectivity becomes all weather and also easy. Next. So these are the places. You can just go through it. There are so many other places, and in each and every district, 75 districts, in each and every assembly constituency, we have identified destinations, temples for the development, and around 750 such projects are going on, or we have completed maximum of them, and certain works are going on. And this year again we'll take up one project from each assembly constituency. So likewise, in the last 2 years we have covered 750 projects, and this process will go on, so that maximum number of all the ancient temples or the places of worship, they becomes fully developed. Next. These are a few events which are now being organized in a big way, like Mahakumbh in 2025. Previously, 2019, Kumbh was organized, and sir as mentioned कि 25 करोड़ लोग विजिट किए थे on different occasions, अलग अलग तिथियां होती जो स्नान की उसमें. देव दीपावली on the banks of river Ganges in Varanasi. It is like कि जैसे पूरा आसमान तारों के साथ नीचे उतर आया हो धरती पे, and the reflection of both the sides we lit diyas, earthen lamps और बाकी दिया, और वो सारी के सारी जो रोशनी नदी में झलकती है, वहाँ पूरी बोट्स लेकर के जब लोग यहाँ से वहाँ जाते हैं, जैसा लगता है कि वो स्वर्ग लोग खुद जो है यहाँ दिवाली मनाने के लिए देवता वहाँ से उतर आए हों. हाँ, so it is believed that this Dev Deepavali is celebrated by the devatas यहाँ उतर करके वाराणसी में. So ये बड़ा अच्छा ओकेजन होता है, और in the past 2-3 years we have made it like world class event. So then Deepotsav, Ayodhya ka Deepotsav, it is attended by not less than 8-10 lakh people. So we invite Ramlilas from different countries. 19 countries participated with their Ramlila troops this time. कई सारे states की रामलीला आती है. They perform for 5 days continuously at different locations, और उसमें पूरा का पूरा एक शोभा यात्रा होती है. जैसे कार्निवल है रियो का, तो हम लोग जो है शोभा यात्रा कहते हैं, और पूरी रामायण की थीम पर वो पूरी शोभा यात्रा सिटी में ट्रेवल करती है. इसके अलावा वी आल्सो have different activities, light and sound show, firecracker show, और दिए जला करके सरयू की नदी पर गिनीज बुक ऑफ वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड हम अपना बनाते हैं, और नेक्स्ट ईयर अपना ही तोड़ते हैं. सो वी हैव ऑलरेडी क्रॉस ओवर 25 लाख दिया एक साथ एक जगह पर एक टाइम पर जलाने का रिकॉर्ड है. और फॉर दैट 30,000 volunteers are engaged from colleges, universities, and jo local volunteers. Then Rangotsav. As you know, this is Holi is festival of colors, and Braj is particularly known for Holi celebration. It's month-long celebration. And Holi लोगों के दिमाग में आता है केवल कलर छिड़क करके. ये ऐसा इलाका है ब्रज जहाँ पे होली डिफरेंट तरीके से मनाते हैं. फूलों वाली होली, लड्डू वाली होली, लड्डू मार करके होली खेलने का आपको पूरे वर्ल्ड में नहीं मिला होगा. टमाटर मार करके तो दिख जाता है टोमाटीना. यहाँ लड्डुओं से, यहाँ और ऐसा ही नहीं कि लड्डुओं से, अगर लड्डू खिलाते हैं तो फिर लाठी भी होती है, तो लठ मार होली भी होती है. यहाँ रंग वाली होली भी होती है, पानी वाली भी होली होती है. तो जितने भी ब्रज के एरियाज हैं उसमें रंगोत्सव चलता है. एंड पूरा 40 डेज तक देयर इज ऑलवेज फेस्टिव सीजन फॉर 40 डेज कंटिन्यूसली. तो सोच सकते हैं कि वसंत को सेलिब्रेट करने का इट्स वेरी गुड प्लेस. नेक्स्ट अयोध्या एग्जाम्पल अगर लें, सो देर आर दीज इंपॉर्टेंट प्लेसेस. ऑब्वियसली श्री राम जन्मभूमि द आर्कोलॉजिकल साइट, अब जहाँ टेम्पल ये हो गया है. हनुमानगढ़ी मंदिर, विदाउट विजिटिंग हनुमानगढ़ी इट इज़ इनकम्प्लीट विजिट टू अयोध्या, इट इज़ बिलीव्ड. एंड दैट इज़ वाई हनुमानगढ़ी भी लोग बहुत जाते हैं. कनक भवन है, राम की पैड़ी है, नागेश्वर नाथ मंदिर, बहुत सारे हैं. मतलब अभी हम लोगों ने जितने पुराने मठ मंदिर हैं सबका कंजर्वेशन वर्क किया है. हाँ सर, गुप्तार घाट से लेके नया घाट तक के पूरा का पूरा रिवर फ्रंट डेवलप हो रहा है. तो आप समझ सकते हैं. और जितने पुराने कुंड थे, भरत कुंड, नंदीग्राम और बाकी सारी जगहों पर, वो भी बड़े तेजी से डेवलप हो रहे हैं. नेक्स्ट, और जैसा सर ने कहा कि इन्वेस्टमेंट इज पोरिंग इन, है ना, बिकॉज देर इज लॉट ऑफ पोटेंशियल फॉर द इन्वेस्टमेंट इन अयोध्या. एंड 148 प्रोजेक्ट्स होटल के ऑलरेडी गॉट रजिस्टर्ड ऑन आवर पोर्टल, टूरिज्म पोर्टल. आप सोचिए कि आज की तारीख में कोई जाता है तो उसको छोटे छोटे कमरा भी 8,000 6,000 से कम में नहीं मिलता, और मिलता ही नहीं है, अवेलेबल ही नहीं है. हम लोगों का टूरिज्म का एक है, वो 10-12 मई तक अभी से फुल है, पैक है. कभी भी वहाँ कहो कि साहब वो तो पैक है, कोई है नहीं. सो दिस इज़ द काइंड ऑफ फुटफॉल वी आर गेटिंग इन. और ये लगता है कि धीरे धीरे बढ़ता जाएगा, और बढ़ ही रहा है डेली. तो अब उनके लिए ये सारी फैसिलिटीज़ देने का ये, तो अब सोचिए कि 19,445 करोड़ का इन्वेस्टमेंट फ्रॉम प्राइवेट सेक्टर. So just because of a temple, how the economy of that area, that district and the state is improving. और यही this will add into 1 trillion economy which state government has targeted to develop. Next. So ये CAGR है 16% जो 2023 से 2030 में we are eyeing on. This is the projected. Lot of initiatives we have started to attract tourists and even to attract investors. जो investment है उसको बढ़ाने के लिए we have come up with a very good UP tourism policy 2022. Through which we are providing 25 to 30% incentive on capital investment to any investor, so that they come to Uttar Pradesh, यहाँ पे सेटल करें और हर तरीके की चीज़ें डेवलप करें, so that we benefit out of it and even though win-win situation for everybody. So यही है हमारे टेम्पल इकोनॉमिक्स का ये. और इसके अलावा बहुत सारी यात्राएं होती है. पंचकोशी यात्रा, 14 कोशी यात्रा, 84 कोशी यात्रा. यात्राओं का बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंस है, लोगों को कई बार समझ नहीं आता. कांवड़ यात्रा, और ये हर बंदा कुछ न कुछ ऐड करता है इस सब में. So thank you very much, है ना, सौरभ, for organizing this.
Thank you so much, sir, for this very insightful and factful presentation. I'll request now Honorable Chair for his chair address. Thank you, sir.
Avnish Awasthi, Advisor to Honorable CM, Uttar Pradesh. Shri Mukesh Mishram, Principal Secretary, Uttar Pradesh Tourism. Shri Vishwabhushan Mishra, CEO, Kashi Vishwanath Temple. Shri Naveen Kumar, Secretary Revenue. Shri Saurabh Pandey, Director, India Think Council, and distinguished guests and dear friends. I am very happy to be with you today at this discussion on the topic of temple economics and dharmic development organized by the India Think Council. First of all, I convey my sincere appreciation to all the distinguished dignitaries for their enlightening speeches. Since ancient times, temples in Bharat have been the centers of the community in terms of commerce, art, culture, education, and social life. Dharma played an important role in shaping the world view of the people. In ancient Bharat, the temple economy was made up of wealth received through donations, endowments, and offerings from devotees. The patrons, including kings and rich individuals, contributed substantially. One significant feature was agricultural land granted to temples as endowments known as Devadaya. This was exempted from taxation and was a major source of revenue for the temples. It was either cultivated by the temple administration themselves or leased out to tenants. The produce generated from these lands contributed to self-sustenance of the temples. I think this is one of the experiences I got in my own village. It is a small village. We have temples, 2-3 temples, and each temple has lot of agricultural land donated by the villagers. And the income generated by cultivating these agricultural lands by giving lease to the tenants, I think the income is sufficient to maintain the temples in that village. I think every village has this type of practice. Temples provided opportunities for artisans and craftsmen. The skilled carvings, excellent paintings, and unique architecture of the artisans showcased the unlimited talents of workers from across the country while providing valuable employment. This is what I have seen yesterday in Ayodhya. The presentation given by the constructing agency Larsen and Toubro, they were telling me where from they have procured the granite. They surveyed the entire country for the strength of the granite, and ultimately they found in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and southern India. I think they have brought the granite from those areas through Kankar by trains to Ayodhya. Temples were also crucial in facilitating trade and commerce, as many temples were situated along important trade routes. Traders and merchants often visited the temples to worship, leading to enhanced economic activities within the region. Temple economy could flourish in India, this is the most important factor, due to polytheistic culture of Sanatana Dharma. In contrast, Western religious systems such as Christianity are monotheistic and are often exclusivistic in nature. This means that a worshipper will worship only one God and he will normally adhere only to his local church and denomination. They won't move out for visiting any other church. They are limited to their own church activity. But in Sanatana Dharma, in Bharat, we have Mukkoti Devatas, 3 crore Devatas. We don't mind worshipping any Devata, any God. Therefore, this type of attitude in Hindutva, it is giving us an opportunity for the people to move and visit all the places, in contrast to Christianity and Muslim religions. In India, temples across the country attract visitors from all corners, as devotees are not bound to only one deity or to only one temple. This increased economic activity around all temples across the land. Temples contribute significantly to local economies and foster economic development. Mandirs generate income for everyone, irrespective of caste, religion, or gender. In front of the temples, many people sell coconuts, flowers, and other things. That is not restricted to only one religion. Everybody is participating in that particular economic activity. Everybody will be benefited. Extensive research shows that shrines were also important economic hubs throughout history. This has remained true till today. As NSSO survey estimates that the temple economy is worth over 3 lakh crore. This could even be larger if the informal sector is accounted for. Many temples are known for their philanthropy as well. They run wonderful educational institutes, hospitals, and undertake other social activities. Venkateshwara Swami Temple in Tirupati, which was run by Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, TTD, and they run a lot of educational institutions, hospitals, and other social activity. These contribute to the overall socio-economic development of the surrounding areas. The numerous social activities undertaken by temples cannot be overstated. During the COVID-19 pandemic, big temples contributed greatly by way of donations as well as providing their spaces for COVID care centers. The temple economy is intrinsically related to the concept of religious tourism. People visit other places for different reasons. Those who travel for leisure will visit places such as beaches, hill stations, etc. That comes under leisure tourism. Nowadays, health and wellness tourism, it is also taking place with excellent medical institutes and renowned hospitals. And moreover, India offers today very economical medical treatment for different diseases. Therefore, people from other countries are coming to India for medical services. That also can be treated as one of the medical tourism. Similarly, devotees undertake pilgrimage to famous holy places and religious sites. Thus, a major driver of temple economy is pilgrimage tourism. Before the historic decision of the Supreme Court of India on the Ram Mandir in 2019, Ayodhya was not a developed city. There was no airport, and the railway station was in need of upgradation. Within 5 years, an international airport is already functional, and the railway station has been massively developed. The construction of the temple itself has given jobs to thousands of workers. Various service providers have been given a boost, including hotels, restaurants, taxi services, gift shops, guides, and many more. Ayodhya is especially fortunate to witness these developments since the city does not have any major industries or factories. While laying the foundation stone for development works at Ayodhya worth more than 15,000 crore, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji stated that these infrastructure related works would once again establish modern Ayodhya with pride on the map of the country. Acknowledging the power of modern advancements in media for promoting tourism, he also said that India is beautifying its pilgrimage sites while immersing in the world of digital technology. In addition to the temple complex itself, Ayodhya has attracted funding for a lot of infrastructural projects. These are expected to turn the city into a regional growth hub with enhanced connectivity, and the details of the projects underway are being given by the Secretary in detail. The aim is to create a mega tourist city of global standards which will attract lakhs of devotees and tourists, thus revolutionizing the economy of as many as a dozen neighboring districts also. The redevelopment of Ayodhya, as per Master Plan 2031, with an investment of over 85,000 crore, is designed to upgrade the holy city to meet the requirement of around 3 lakh daily visitors. The vision is carefully designed to include world-class modern amenities while celebrating the history and culture of this ancient place. I have seen the beautiful drawings, paintings constructed on both the sides of the road, on the roads of the Ayodhya. They are very nice. As per media reports, a total of 37 national and state agencies were working together in Ayodhya with a budget of 31,662 crores. Development projects have been categorized into 8 broad themes: aesthetic Ayodhya, clean Ayodhya, efficient Ayodhya, accessible Ayodhya, experimental Ayodhya, modern Ayodhya, cultural Ayodhya, and healthy Ayodhya. The chairperson of Sri Rama Mandir Construction Committee has expressed his expectation that the areas surrounding Ayodhya may undergo expansion similar to the National Capital Region. He also mentioned that a number of applications for building hotels have been received and that a plan for a smart city is in progress. Fast-moving consumer goods companies and food services chains are also lining up for the city, which is expected to receive 4 crore annual visitors by 2031 and under the Ayodhya Master Plan. For instance, India's largest mineral water company, Bisleri International, is setting up a greenfield plant in Ayodhya. Likewise, luxury hotel giants such as Radisson, Taj, ITC, as well as budget hospitality chain Voyo are opening up new hotels in Ayodhya. The tourism potential of the revamped Ayodhya can be seen from the surge of tourists by 8,342% in 2022 as compared to 2021. The expected large number of visitors is bound to turn Ayodhya into an economic powerhouse, boosting the business of the entire region. The influx of tourists not only boosts the local economy, but also generates revenue for the government in the form of taxes. I think tourism, as you all know, is one sector which gives lot of revenue for the state governments also. These can further be used for welfare schemes. The development of Kashi Vishwanath Temple Complex is another shining example of how temples boost the regional economy. After Kashi Vishwanath Dham was inaugurated by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, it has become one of the top pilgrimage spots in the country, with a record of 13 crore visitors within 2 years. The influx of pilgrims and tourists invariably lead to a real estate boom, driving up property values and stimulating economic activities in the areas. These trends have also seen in other holy sites such as Jerusalem and Mecca, where real estate development has led to economic growth and urban expansion. It is interesting to note that while traditional tourist destinations such as Goa have seen drops in number of visitors, religious tourist sites such as Varanasi are witnessing growth. Figures from the Ministry of Tourism reveal that in 2022, there was an increase of approximately 1.3 lakh crores in the economy around worship places in India compared to 65,000 crores in 2021. The major centers of religious tourism in the country include Varanasi, Ayodhya, Madura, Ujjain, Tirupati, Jagannath Puri, Rameshwaram, Haridwar, Badrinath, Kedarnath, and others you can count in hundreds. The country has witnessed the revamping and redevelopment of various pilgrimage sites in recent times. In 2022, Honorable Prime Minister inaugurated the first phase of the 850 crore Mahakaleshwar Temple Corridor in Ujjain. Within 1 year, more than 5 crore people visited Mahakal Lok. Again, in February of this year, Honorable Prime Minister laid the foundation stone for the 498 crore Kamakya Corridor in Gauhati, Assam. In Odisha too, the 800 crore Sri Jagannath Heritage Corridor at Puri has been inaugurated. Temple economics is a part of the broader spectrum of religious and cultural economy, which bridges the tangible and intangible aspects of human existence. The safeguarding and promotion of culture itself greatly contributes to many of the sustainable development goals such as decent work and economic growth, reduced inequalities, sustainable communities, and fostering global partnership. I think this will also fall under SDGs. To sum up, the flourishing of temple economy in recent times is a blessing for the nation, as it drives economic growth in consonance with dharmic development. I congratulate the organizers for successfully conducting today's program. It is my desire that our discussions will contribute to the continued glory of our great nation. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Very good, sir. Ayodhya Jai Shri Ram, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. And as you quoted, definitely non-dharmic people are controlling the dharmic cities. So definitely other people who don't belong to Hindu religion, they are getting jobs and employment. So it's another fact. So now I'll request the director of Sangeet Natak Akademi. This hall is yours. Please for vote of thanks.
इंडिया थिंक काउंसिल, धर्मार्थ कार्य विभाग और संस्कृति विभाग द्वारा आयोजित इस विचार गोष्ठी में मंदिर अर्थव्यवस्था और धार्मिक विकास के महत्वपूर्ण बिंदुओं और पहलुओं पर अपने विचार व्यक्त करने के लिए मैं महामहिम राज्यपाल और मैडम का मैं बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं कि इस सारगर्भित परिचर्चा में आपने अपने जो विचार व्यक्त किए उसमें निश्चय ही भारत और उत्तर प्रदेश में मंदिर अर्थव्यवस्था और धार्मिक विकास हम देख पा रहे हैं। इसी के अंतर्गत मैं आदरणीय श्री अवनीश अवस्थी सर का भी मैं धन्यवाद प्रेषित करता हूं, आदरणीय श्री मुकेश मिश्राम सर का भी कि उनके नेतृत्व में इस प्रकार की विचार गोष्ठी हम लोग ये आयोजन कर पा रहे हैं। साथ ही साथ श्री विश्वभूषण मिश्रा जी, श्री नवीन कुमार जी और सभागार में उपस्थित सभी गणमान्य विद्वान चिंतक एवं अतिथियों का भी मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। इतनी अच्छी यह विचार गोष्ठी जो आयोजन हुई है इसके लिए मैं इंडिया थिंक काउंसिल के श्री सौरभ पांडे जी को भी मैं बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं और साथ ही यह आयोजन धर्मार्थ कार्य विभाग और संस्कृति विभाग के सौजन्य से ये हुआ है, तो इसके लिए मैं आप सभी का मैं बहुत आभार व्यक्त करते हुए इस माइक को मैं सौरभ जी के था।
We will rise again for the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा, विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उत्सल जलधि तरंगा, तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तब जय गाथा, जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
प्रीति एम शाह कुछ देना चाहती हैं तो प्लीज आ जाए सर। Thank you. आप सभी समय निकाल करके आए, बहुत बहुत आभार।
बाहर है।
HDMI हटा रहे हैं, HDMI हटा रहे हैं। निकाल दीजिए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं।